Hello, this is Mr. Jilly. Today I'm going to talk about the basics of watercoloring. So I have some special paper here. This is called mixed media paper. You can also use watercolor paper. The kind of paper you need is thick paper. The drawing paper is kind of floppy and is not great for watercolor. It'll get too wet. All right, you're going to need four things to watercolor. You're going to need your paints. You're going to need a brush. You're going to need water. And you'll need a paper towel or napkin. You can get those things where your teacher tells you to get them. All right, I have some paints now. These paints are dry. Your paints might already be a little wet, or they might be dry like mine. You'll notice some of them, like this brown one right here, does not have a lot of paint in it. However, you can still paint with it. Well, how do you paint with watercolor? You're going to mix some water into the paint pan. Mix it around with your brush, and you can kind of stick your brush in and twirl it around, get it loaded with paint. All right, I'm going to put some of this on the paper. Excellent. You'll see my brush will kind of dry out and then it'll stop brushing colors. If you use a little more water, it will help it spread out more. So if you want to spread more, it's not spreading enough, you need to add more water. However, if it's really wet, you've had put too much water. The trick to watercoloring is using the right amount of water and the right amount of paint. You can mix more paint on your brush, really get in there. The more paint you add, the darker it will get. You see how it got darker? So if you want to make it darker, add more paint. If you want to make it lighter, add more water. You can make it lighter or you can spread it around really nicely. Excellent. All right, I have brown all over my paintbrush. Now, I don't want to stick it in another color. Oops, I got some brown up in my orange. No, that's not how you do it. Here's the trick. You don't want to mess up all your colors. You want to keep them nice and clean. So you're going to need to dip your brush in the water and wipe it on the napkin to clean your brush. If you're painting with a color and you want a different color, clean your brush. How do you clean it? Dip it, wipe it. Dip it, wipe it. All right, have a nice clean brush. I can get a different color. Mixing some water with the orange, twirling my brush around, filling it up with orange. Oh, that's a nice color there. And I'm going to add some yellow to the orange. I'm going to blend colors. So I need to dip it, wipe it. Need to clean my brush. So I'm mixing water with the yellow, getting lots of yellow paint on my brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend these colors. I'm going to mix them right in the middle, and I'll get a nice yellow-orange right there. Beautiful. Try mixing colors that are next to each other in the rainbow, like red and orange or red and purple. Maybe you could mix green with blue or purple with blue. Try mixing your rainbow colors. They're called analogous colors. Here's another quick trick. Try this. I'm going to do wet on wet. I'm going to put some water right on my paper, some clean water, and I will dip in my brush. I'll just kind of touch it, and you'll see it kind of spreads around in the water. Notice how it looks different than when you just brush it straight on. You brush the paint on. If you dip it in the water, that's called wet on wet technique, and you'll see it kind of spreads out nicely and blooms. All right, those are the basics of watercolor. Remember, don't just stick your brush in. Oh no, I got orange in my yellow. Don't just do that. Remember to clean your brush, dip it, and wipe it. If you mix up your paints, you can wipe them out with your napkin. All right, I hope you learned about watercolor. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.